Good morning. I'm back at the site and I am going to continue on with the wall switches in this morning. Um, the rest of the day, hopefully we can get the grey water tank installed. So I was having a think about what do you call it, the wall panel for the switches. Um, and I think I will put a 12 volt cigarette plug here. Uh, so it's mainly because I was thinking of what the extra two switches would be for. So I think I will have lights, air, water, fridge, and then auxiliary, so the 12 volt cigarette plug. And this one is hopefully external lights. Um, so in future, I don't know if I'll get time to do it during this fan build, but I'm thinking I will put some external lights on there. Yeah, just having this one for the auxiliary um, uh, socket there will make it nice and easy to find everything all in one place. Um, what was the other thing? Ah, right. So, uh, because I'm going to put a extra socket in there, it means I won't have enough space for a relay panel. But I was having a think about it anyway. There's no real advantage for me doing that. The cable run is not that long. Um, so if there was a lot more cabling that was going everywhere, a relay panel would be more suitable. Uh, but the between the battery and the kitchen, it's a very short cable run, less than 2 meters. So I think I'll just put the red cabling there anyway. Um, yeah, not a huge difference there. The other thing I was thinking about how I was going to mount this. Um, it would have been nice to have it in the wall and have it flush. Um, but I didn't know anything about electricals before I started working on the walls. Um, with the knowledge that I have now, I would have run a conduit cable behind the wall and had a slot for it. I didn't know any of that. Uh, it's not a huge deal. It just means it's going to sit out from the wall. Um, but with the box itself, uh, I think I have done it back to front. So I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be the back part of it, and the plate that's there is the front part where you're supposed to mount everything. Um, in the long run, it doesn't make too much difference. It would have been easier to mount this uh, just by screwing, drilling a hole in the back of this, and then you can just put the plate on the front. Not a big deal. Yeah. So, uh, okay, I will do the cigarette accessory first, just because the cables are going to be fiddly to put in. Um, so let's add that in now, and we'll connect up all the cables. Cool. There we go. just bought a bulk pack of these terminal endings for the light switches, for the switches. So they just slot on like that. Um, but they're all blue. So I'm going to color coordinate them first, and then put the cables in. It's not a necessary step. It's just future proofing it. If someone else, if I do decide to sell this vehicle in future, or if I need to fix something, I don't have to follow every single cable to find out where it goes. I'll know which one's the positive, which one's negative, which one's appliance. So I'll go ahead and do that. That might take me a little while, so I might not film it. I'll just quickly go through how I'm going to connect this all. So rather than having the cables running directly into this, I'm going to have them, the terminals, I'm going to have these terminal strips and mount them on the sides. That way, all I need to do is, like, the, the cables from the switches will just be connected to here. If I do need to replace it, I don't need to unhook it, re-terminate it, pull a cable through and put it into the slot. I just need to unscrew it from here and then replace it with a new cable, if that does happen. So I've got 9 negative, 9 positive, and 6 appliance terminals here. With the terminal strips, I've cut them in 6, 9, and brass. So as I said, with the negative terminals, I'm using this as a distribution strip. So I'm just going to have one negative cable running directly to the battery, and this, because it's all metal, is going to distribute the negative charge through anything that's connected to that metal panel. So I could just have one of these if I really wanted to. It's just all the cables have to go into one slot. So it's just a bit neater with the distribution terminal. With the positive, the reason there's a difference between 9 of each of these, positive, negative, and a 6 with the appliance, is because there's 9 joints in this wall mount that I've made. So there's 6 universal switches and 3 set switches. So these are actually the appliance. So it doesn't need an appliance plug, because this is the actual appliance. This is a USB, this is a voltage meter, and this is a cigarette charger. So there's no need for a appliance connection, because it is the appliance. There's actually no third connection on here anyway. It just needs a positive and negative terminal in it. So the 6 appliance ones are just for these universal switches. I'm just going to give you an example of how I'll be hooking this up. So I'm not going to film it all, because it's pretty much the same for all of it. It's very tedious. So I have one of the terminals connected to the cable, and I will slot it in to the appliance slot, and then the other end I will put in this terminal bracket and have it mounting here. Okay, so I will do the same with the positive and the negative ends, and have all the cables run to each terminal strip. That way, when I'm ready to put in my appliance, I can just screw here, put the cable in, and screw it, fasten it on. Okay, so I've just finished wiring the appliance leads. It took me about 25 minutes to do this. So all of these are running to the underside of that terminal strip. I've just mounted it up with double-sided tape. So all I have to do is plug my appliances into here. I've done it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the same way around. Sorry, I've done it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm just about to get started on the negative terminals. I've realized that I can actually do it in series. So have one cable that runs from here to here, and then jumps from here to here, here to here, here to here, here to here, here to the negative terminal. I could do that. I'm not sure if any of the cables that I have, other than the one that's running to the battery, would have high enough ampage. But I will check that. If that's the case, it'll be a lot neater to do it like that. But if not, I'll just do it the way that I originally had planned. Turns out I can't use the higher amperage cables. It's too thick for me to bend it over and have two of these in each of these terminals. I don't think one would fit, but not two. So I'm just going to go with my initial plan. I've just finished terminating and connecting all the ends. So the top strip is for the positive, the right hand side is for the appliance, and the left hand side is the negative. It doesn't look overly neat, but if anyone new were to have a look at this, just looking at where these three red cables go, they should be able to ascertain that it's this, and this, and that they're in order. So that's basically the only concern that I had about that. So now that that's all connected, I need to run the negative cable to the battery, and the positive to the circuit breakers. I'm just going to add some more terminals to the electrical system here. So basically this terminal strip that I've added, I'm going to be connecting it to the circuit breakers. That way I don't have to keep pulling off this circuit breaker, and it's not directly wired into each switch. So I'll have one of these in each of the circuit breaker switches, and then I'll add my appliances here. Some of these circuit breakers are going to have more than one appliance on it. So I have two 8 amps and two 20 amp um, uh, circuit breakers. Um, so the 20 amp ones I am going to be using for the accessory plugs. So the fridge and the cigarette lighter auxiliary plug. And for the two 8 amp ones, uh, I will be putting in with the one of them I will put for the vent and the lights, and the other one I will use for the water pump and the USBs. So the vent is 5, and the lights I would say is 1. So that's 6. It should be enough for both of them to run. And the what is it? The water pump is 2 amps, and the USBs each are 3 amps. So 3, 6, 8, 8 amps. It should be enough. It's not like I'm going to have the water pump running 24 hours, but the USBs I might. But it should be enough anyway. Yeah, so that's it's just an easier way for me to wire it and swap it over if something does go wrong. I was just about to hook up the wall panel, but I can't seem to find the negative cable that I purchased the other day. I've already spent about 20 minutes looking for it, so I'm just going to go up to the hardware store and get a new one. But I did manage to find my tape measure, so good thing I didn't leave it at the hardware store. Cool, I'll go get that and we can hook this all up. I'm back from the hardware store. I have purchased another cable and I've already done the uh, termination for it. I've also hooked it. Oh, I've also hooked it up to the distribution terminal. Um, so the negative side is ready to go. I just need to hook it to the battery. I've also cut some of the conduit cable. So all the cables from this box to the battery are going to be going through this conduit cable. It just protects it. It just protects it from if there is any exposed wires from touching anything. So I am going to hook up some of the positive cables to the circuit breaker. Um, I really should have gotten more red cable. Um, yeah, I'll see how many I can do. I think I should be able to get 2 or 3 with that length there. But it's enough to test it out and make sure that the stuff is working. Yeah, let's do that for now. So as I mentioned before, um, I don't need to terminate any more cables. Um, I've got all these termination strips on both the circuit breaker side and the switch side. So all I need to do is unscrew and screw. So I've just run the positive cable to what I think should be the length. I'm just going to add a little bit more and then we will hook it up to the circuit breaker. Once again, I will be testing with the lights. I have the circuit breaker off at the moment, so there shouldn't be a complete circuit. It's not going to matter anyway because I'm not touching both positive and negatives, so it shouldn't spark up or anything. But before I connect anything, an appliance up to it, I just want to show you where these cables are going to go. So at the moment, this is the negative cable that's running to the battery. So all of the negative power is coming from here. That is being distributed along this brass plate, and from there it's going into the negative terminals of the connectors, the switches. So with the positive, this is going to the circuit breaker. The circuit breaker is off at the moment, so it's not active. On the right hand side is where all the green cables are going to be going. So the green is what I'm using as the positive terminals for the appliance. Okay, so all I should have to do is to plug my appliance. I forgot which one is positive and which one's negative. So all I should need to do is to plug the positive in on this side and the negative in on this side. Okay, I'm just going with a random guess at the moment that this is the positive side. We'll see what happens. I'm just going to turn the circuit breaker on. Okay, so the lights have come on. Don't think that should have... Oh, it's because the switch is on. It must have turned on when I flicked it. There you go. Nice and easy. I've almost finished wiring the positive cables. I don't. I've run out of cable again for the last two slots, but that's not too important. But as I was about to close it all off, I noticed something. So I was going to run the conduit cable, but it's really hard. I'm going to cut the conduit cable if I can, and then clip it in like that. But as I was about to do that, I've realized I've run half the cables behind this pipe and half the cables in the front of it. Because I'm an idiot. I need to rewire it again. I rewired it so it's all behind the pipe, but I've realized something yet again. I need to rewire it after I've drilled in the escape hole, the cable hole. I still haven't decided where I'm going to do that just yet. So for now, let's just leave it. It's working. I'll just need to redo it once I have decided where I'm mounting this. Okay, so it should all be connected up now. I'm just going to turn the circuit breakers on. Yeah, so that looks like it's working. Let's have a look at the lights. Did I not wire them? Okay, so it took me a little while to figure out why the lights weren't going on and it wasn't charging. I double checked all the cables. It's hooked up correctly. Um, it is hooked up correctly. I haven't plugged this one in yet, nor have I plugged this one. I've ran out of cut cable. But it is all working now. So I dock that on. There we go, charging. Yeah, so it is hooked in all correctly. The reason why the other lights weren't working was because the circuit breaker isn't working. So maybe it got damaged or something, but it's not flowing electricity through. So I will need to go get another one. But at the moment it's fine because I'm not using these two just yet. But everything's hooked up fine. I think I'm going to leave it for now and call it a day. Didn't get as much done as I thought we would, but we can start on the. Actually, I might hook up the pump and the air anyway. That shouldn't take too long, but tomorrow we'll get started on the water filtration. No, sorry, we'll do the grey water first. I need to seal off these water tanks as well. So let's do grey water, seal those tanks off, and put the water filtration in. Ambitious, I know, but let's hope we can catch up on some work. Yeah, so I will leave it there. Thanks again for joining.